Hey guys, this is Anthony with the Oster's Kitchen. Today we're going to be talking about how to make these delicious bread bowls. They're great for soups and chilies. Let's go ahead and get started. To put together our bread bowls today, we're going to need 3 to 3.5 cups of flour, 1 tablespoon of instant rise yeast, 1 tablespoon of sugar, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1.5 cups of warm water, and if you have some sesame seeds, they make a nice addition to the top for the crust. To start, we want to go ahead and get a temperature on the water. You want to make sure that it is above 100 degrees but less than 130. I'm right at about 106, so I think that's pretty good. We're then going to go ahead and combine our salt, our sugar, and our yeast with the water. I can give that a nice stir. I like to use a fork just to keep it from sticking too much. And we're going to let that sit for a couple of minutes, let it start to bubble, make sure the yeast is still active. It's been just about 2 minutes and you can see I'm already getting bubbling at the surface here. That means our yeast is good to go, and we're going to go ahead and start incorporating that into our dough mixture. We're going to start by adding half of our flour, so about 1.5 cups. It doesn't have to be precise, this is just to keep from getting too messy. Then we'll pour in all of our yeast mixture. Go ahead and add your dough hook. If you're doing this by hand, you can knead this with a wooden spoon. Lock it. I'm going to have this go on slow just to incorporate everything. As the dough starts to come together, I'm going to just slowly pour in more of my flour. Once that starts to incorporate, I'm going to increase the speed just a little bit at a time. Once the dough comes together like this, we're going to go ahead and turn the speed up to about mid-range for 7 to 8 minutes, just to make sure that we get this a good knead. And you may need to work down pieces of the dough ball as it comes up. The dough is warm, a little bit tacky, but that's just where we want it. I'm going to go ahead and remove our bread hook. Lightly fold the dough. It should just be ever so slightly sticky to the touch, but a good elastic surface. And we are going to use just a little bit of olive oil. You could use butter or cooking spray. And we're going to just coat the bottom of this bowl here. Get the sides nice and lubricated up. Get our bread bowl in. Make sure it's nice and oiled up. I'm going to cover that with plastic wrap and let it sit under my kitchen lights for about half an hour. Okay guys, as you can see, our dough ball has easily doubled in size. And so I'm going to go ahead and let that breathe for a second. We're going to go ahead and set our oven. If you have a double oven, go ahead and set the bigger one to 500 degrees. That's right, 500. While that's preheating, let's go ahead and prepare our surface. Whenever I'm working with dough, I like to use this pizza peel. It keeps my counters clean, and the wood is actually really easy to work with. So we're going to go ahead and flour that up. We'll go ahead and feel our dough out, punch it down just a little bit, give it a toss in the flour. Now I'm going to separate this into 3 equal portions. Equal enough. The technique I like to use is just to pull and fold. So get a nice top here. We'll set that aside. Do the same thing for the other 2. While our oven's preheating on 500, we're going to let these rise, hopefully double in size in that time. So you want to spread them apart pretty far. You don't want them to be touching. This time I'm just going to use a clean tea towel to give these guys a cover. Let's take a second and talk about what we're going to do to cook these. Now you could use a greased baking pan, or you could use some cornmeal in the baking pan. What I like to do is use this pizza stone, and what I'm going to do is right before I put my bread bowls in, I'm going to sprinkle some cornmeal on the pizza stone. And that's going to help the bottoms firm up really nice and firm. That way we don't have to worry about any soup leaking out of our bread bowl. Okay, it's been about 15 minutes. Our dough balls look fantastic. And so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to score them. And what this does is it creates a pressure point for air to escape while the bread is baking, and it looks really cool. So we're just going to make a small X in each ball. And you can see it's already starting to come apart. That's the yeast and the carbon dioxide doing their job. Then I'm going to give each ball a spritz of water. And we're going to sprinkle them all with sesame seeds on the top. Now, as I mentioned, I went ahead and dusted my pizza stone with cornmeal. Now I'm just going to give each dough ball a little place on it to rest. We're going to bake at 500 for about 2 minutes. Okay, it's been 2 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and adjust my temperature to 425. And we're going to let this go for another 15 to 20 minutes, but it's going to depend on your oven. Another good gauge is if you have a temperature probe, the internal temperature of the bread should be between 190 and 200 with a golden brown crust on the outside of each bowl. So you're really not supposed to peek whenever you're baking bread. I just wanted to show you how cool that looks. Don't those look amazing? Still need a little bit of color on them, so we're gonna let them keep going. All right, so these are looking delicious. I went ahead and checked the temperature on them, and they are good to go. And so I'm actually, don't try this at home, kids. Just gonna reach in. Got them on my trusty pizza peel here. And I'm gonna let these cool off before cutting their tops all open and stuffing them with our favorite soup. Don't those look incredible? All right, now that our bread bowls are cool, I'm gonna go ahead and just slice off the top using a bread knife. hollow out my bowl with a spoon. What I like to do is take a slice of cheese, put it right at the bottom. I'm gonna let the bowl and the top sit under the broiler on my oven for just a couple of minutes. So I'll show you that when it finishes up. All right, with our cheese melted, we're just gonna go ahead and scoop in our soup. This is leftover chicken tortilla soup. So just spicing it up a little bit with this bread bowl. And you're done.
If you like my mommy and papi video, please like and subscribe.